All right, here we go, Ed. Clapping now. Clapping. Ow! Oh, sorry.
You know, they're going to get tired of that.
Yeah, but that
Probably at the same time that I am.
I actually banged my finger on that time. Hey, welcome to the limited series. I'm here with my co-host.
Ed Massiena.
I knew that.
Oh, I know.
I already knew that.
I thought maybe you might have forgotten after 40-something years.
I wanted to say, what's his name?
It's his name, yeah.
They already know that anyway. This is December. It's already December. We've already got Christmas stuff coming in. We've got a new gift basket site, giftbasketsplus.com, which is incredible. We are just smoking. So let's talk about smoking. Let's smoke. I'm sorry. So this, I have the first one.
He's a little turned on.
You know, this is.
His wife said, "Watch out for him today. He's a little tense."
This is brought in by
a guy.
I can't remember who it is.
Well, it's okay.
But this is Côte du Rhône. Now, when was the last time we did a Côte du Rhône?
I think about 2
Goats,
months ago. We did a Côte du Rhône a couple of months ago. It was also 2013, which I think is pretty fascinating because, no, it's actually 2011. Sorry.
This is great.
No, it is 2013. And as I said then, and to repeat myself, it's a terrible vintage in France, especially in Bordeaux and Burgundy. It's not real good in Italy. But for some reason, the Rhone escaped all the problems because the Rhone wines are fabulous.
This is really something. And it's sort of new world meets old world, right? You get a little bit of old world smokiness, a little bit of gaminess.
Yeah, but it's clean, it's crisp, it doesn't have that old barrel smell. You know, it isn't oxidized. But, you know, it's really hard to find bad wine today, to be quite honest with you. You may not like it, but that doesn't mean that it's not chemically sound.
Well, tell that to my computer when I rate all the wines that we get in.
Well, okay.
Oh, wait a minute. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say, close to it.
What?
How many of those wines you brought me to taste that just were crap?
Well, okay, we didn't like them, but they weren't flawed. They didn't have chemical. You couldn't send them into a chemical analysis and say, "Oh, it's got VA, it's got ethyl acetate, it's got hydrogen sulfide." You know, I mean, these are properties that you don't want in a wine. But that doesn't mean that they're good. It just means that they're not. Look, when your dad and I were tasting wines 40 years ago,
now we go back to your dad. You weren't around. You weren't big enough. Look at all these wines here.
You wouldn't believe some of the stuff we would taste that had so much things going wrong with it. His dad was a pharmacist. Of course, he would tell me what it was, what the compound was.
This thing right here. This Merlot from Hungary, what is this? Look at this.
64.
But it won the Hublin Premier National Auction of Rare Wines in May of 1983.
Okay, we'll get back to the Domaine Servant Grenache. It says Côte du Rhône. It doesn't really say Grenache on there. I don't know why he calls it Grenache. It's Côte du Rhône. And this is spectacular.
It's Grenache and Syrah.
$23.99 on the shelf. 15.
You know, that's interesting. It's Côte du Rhône. It's 75% Grenache.
Well, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's about what they are. You know,
as far as you know.
As far as I know.
That's a 95 for me. I think
96 for me. I think it's delicious. I won't leave home without it.
I'm getting that. It's funny. I get the slight hint of smokiness, but I don't get that gaminess.
Oh, now we got the.
This is your buddy Joop.
Joop. Well, he's your buddy too now.
What kind of name? Joop. Y-U-P-E.
J-O-E-P. He's Dutch.
That too.
And he's got a beautiful daughter who is thinking about coming to live in the United States to go help sell wine. I said, good, make my job a lot easier. You send a beautiful girl into people to sell wine. Duh. Guess what happens? It sells. I mean, wine's very, very good. When I meet people and we talk about Bordeaux,
this is so rich.
You know, I mean, Bordeaux, my God, Bordeaux. You know, I mean, Bordeaux publicizes themselves as the largest fine wine producer in the world. And the fact is, they make 60 million cases of wine or something like that, which is about 10% of all of the wine that's made in France. But the fact is, there are like 2,000 to 4,000 chateaus in Bordeaux, of which only about 200 are recognized. So you got all these other people that are making wine in Bordeaux, and they don't, they've got to play catch up. And this is one of them. And that's why the wine is such a great value.
What's interesting, this is Merlot based, which is many of them, but there's no Cabernet Sauvignon in it. It's all Franc and Malbec.
Because this is on, Bordeaux is divided into two areas, the left bank and the right bank. The right bank is on the right bank of the Gironde River, and the left bank is on the left bank of the Dordogne River. And the right bank is a cooler area just because of where it's situated. And so Cabernet Sauvignon needs a little more warmth and a little more sunshine than it gets. So that's why they're mostly Merlot and Cabernet Franc. The fact is, everybody talks about Bordeaux and Cabernet. Merlot has 3 times the planting of Cabernet in the entire area of Bordeaux. There's not that much Cabernet in Bordeaux, except in Pauillac. Lafite, Latour, and some of the first growths in Pauillac, they may have more than 50% Cabernet, but the rest of them, they're Merlot and Cabernet Franc.
Well, like Johnny Carson says.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that. This is rich, extracted, and I'm giving it a 95.
Wow.
We did the Little Brother in the Vintner series, right?
Carmine is more drinkable, and this is a wine I'd like to hold on to for a while. I mean, if you're going to have it right now, boy, you better try that steak, and you better try it.
Yeah, seriously. It was good. Really good. Okay. Now, the Blanc.
Blanc. Oh, white Bordeaux from the same producer.
Of the product line, this was one of my favorites.
This is one of my favorite wines, period. I could not believe it. He'd never made a white before. So it obviously didn't come from his estate. He bought the grapes from the producer in Bordeaux. And
wow,
I love white Bordeaux. So I think the greatest wine I ever had, the greatest white wine I ever had in my life, was a white Bordeaux. Not a Chardonnay from France, but a white Bordeaux. It was Haut-Brion Blanc, 1966. And
this has
so many things going on.
Lychee, what is that? Kiwi in there? But it's so atypical than let's say its counterpart like a Grave. It doesn't taste nothing like that. It's got such a fruit bump in the middle.
But it has this almost chalky, granity, sort of rocky sort of component. But it's got that wonderful grapefruit, but it's not grapefruit like you get in New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. It's grapefruit like you get in Bordeaux.
But I'm almost expecting some Semillon, and then there's not.
No, there's not, which is very rare. They usually add Semillon for the simple reason that it softens the wine. It doesn't have as much acidity. I like the acidity in this wine. I think it's just incredible.
Semillon also gives a little tropical character, and I'm getting a little tropical, but this is really good. This is a 97 for me.
Absolutely. And, this is $22.99 on the shelf, $14.99 on the reorder price. It's killer for that kind of money. You go to the store and try to find white Bordeaux. You can find white Bordeaux's for $200 and $300. Okay, granted, this isn't a $200 or $300 wine, but it isn't 1/20th of what those wines are. I'll tell you that.
This is the kind of wine I'd show some people without telling them what it is, and they'll say, "Oh, I want some Chardonnay, or I want the Pinot Grigio." Just I want you to taste this because there's so much going on. You're going to want to taste it again.
I brought it to a wine luncheon yesterday, and a friend of mine that I've known for almost as long as I've known your dad called me and or emailed me and said, "Who brought that wine, and where can I get some?"
The Wine of the Month Club.
Yeah.
The original Wine of the Month Club.
Okay, and
what? You ruined my glass.
I ruined your glass. Here, have a. I'm just seeing if you're paying attention.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell the difference between red and white wine.
It's about time. Okay, and
this is very fortuitous because I had bought the little brother of this from the one of our favorite importers, and he called and said, "I don't have the little brother anymore, but I'll sell you its big brother for the same price." I'm like, "Yeah." Well, this is a very famous wine.
Yeah, Paco and Lola I know very well. I've had their wines many times. They're spectacular. Albarino is a very, very distinctive grape that's grown in the far reaches of the northwest corner of Spain, just above Portugal, and bordering just on the Atlantic coast.
GPS for that.
And what's interesting about this grape, and I didn't know this until recently, it grows in an area that no other grape will grow in. In Riojas Baxas, which is kind of damp and cold and not real warm, it is 95% of all the grapes that are grown there because nothing else will grow there. Every grape wants sunlight. It wants dry weather, and it doesn't like damp, warm, rain, fog, et cetera.
This has a ton of volume for a cold weather.
Well, it does. It's like no other grape around because it's completely different from any. It likes a completely different growing seasons, and it has a great flavor. It has a flavor, like you said, that it comes from a warm area because it's rich and it's ripe, but it's not super ripe.
No, the mid palate's full, and I'm getting some.
And I love the nose out of this thing. The problem with this grape, when it's grown in warmer climates, it's too effusive. It's too much. It's like, oh, gee, give me a break here. You put 2 bottles of wine in one. Did I sound mad when I said that?
You always sound mad.
Okay.
Ed. Well, man, we were fortunate to get that. Even though its little brother, Low, is very good, and it is certainly his character. But this one seems to have
This
some
is
age into it,
delicious.
a little oak, maybe.
$22.99 on the shelf, $50.99 the reorder price. You are not going to find Albarino for $16 because they don't make that much of it, and it's got a great following. I'm doing a 98. I love it.
I do 97, but this goes to show you something. The little brother's Lola. You add Paco to it, you get the man behind the thing. You got Paco and Lola, and then all of a sudden,
that makes a lot of sense. Boy, I mean, here all day we've been talking, and finally he comes up with one.
Hey,
What?
cheers! Happy December.
Yeah, happy Christmas. See you next year. This whole Monocore is a little corked.